Welcome back, traders. Good morning to you. And a little bit quite late because of some technical issues, which I'm always trying to resolve so that you can all have a better experience for today. So, as usual, in the moment, we are going to be diving into an exciting but also insightful analysis of all the handful of instruments that we have been monitoring since the beginning of the week: the USDJPY, the XAUUSD, the USOilSPOT, and also the GBPUSD. And through a comprehensive price action perspective, we are going to be exploring the recent price movement, fundamental factors, and also chart patterns, which will help us to uncover the key insights that can potentially shape trading decisions for today. And one thing I would like us to acknowledge is the fact that today is the last trading day of the week, and there is always a psychological peculiarity about this kind of days: last trading days of the week, last trading day of the month, last trading day of the years. There is always this high tendency of majority of the players in the market who had hold a position for an extended period of time to start closing some of their position, hereby going through a take profit activity. And how does this reflect on the chart? Well, if we start looking at the chart, there is a high tendency that we begin to see that price action is moving in the opposite direction of where it is coming from at the beginning of the week. So we are going to be taking this into consideration while we also look at what is really going on, how to manage our existing trade, and at the same time look out for more opportunities during the London and New York session today. And one thing I would also like to say here, which will be a caveat to what the expectation should be like for today, is that next week is a very key week for us in terms of fundamental factors, as we have the Fed, the ECB, and also I think which other one is that? I think the Japanese. The Japanese will all be making their interest rate decision next week, and definitely there is a high chance that participants in the market will be very skeptical on holding or making any major buy or sell position for today. So we are also going to be taking into consideration that expectation too as well, while we monitor price action using, as usual, technical parameters to give us an information of what is really going on. And for those who are joining us for the first time, you are highly welcome. So this is what we simply do here on a daily basis. We come together to prepare ourselves ahead of the London and New York session, and at the same time manage our existing trade so that we can maximize the potential of any position we are in. And so what I simply do here is analyze on the 1 hour time frame. So if you do want to have an insight or a background knowledge of how we got to the point on the 1 hour time frame, well, I advise you to watch the videos which are in the link in the description box below of all the instruments we are monitoring for this week, as this video gives you a top-down analysis and a well-detailed reasons and ideas why we are in this current market structure that we are in. So you can check it out after the live session, and this is duly timestamped so you can easily navigate to whichever aspect of focus you are interested in. So with that being said, here let's dive right into the business. And as usual, you know how we do it every morning. We want to be checking the economic calendar to see what majority in the market is looking forward to. And of course, this economic calendar, this macroeconomic event helps us to position ourselves, gives us better timing so that we can look out for structures ahead of the session, within the session, and post the session. So for today, I already checked, and there are no high impact events to look out for today. So we are going to be basically relying on our technical skills to give us an idea of what we are going to be doing. So the last 24 hours has been quite profitable for us, so we are going to be diving into that in a moment. So let's kickstart the live session, and the first thing we are going to be doing is to check on the USOilSPOT as usual. That is the first commodity we normally look at. So let's see what is really going on the USOilSPOT market. So I would like to resize my chart a little bit so that things can be a little bit clearer. So I would appreciate if you can give me a feedback that things are quite fine over there. The audio quality, the visuals is quite okay. Let me know in the comment section. I would really appreciate this feedback, as this will help me to confirm that we're on the same page, and if there are necessary adjustments that are needed, I will know in time so that we can all have a better experience. So I will appreciate some feedbacks in that regard. So now let's move right into the USOilSPOT chart. Now, we had a very huge sell position yesterday against all odds, actually, and we have been monitoring this market since the beginning of the week. And what we saw here at the beginning of the week was our price action was ranging within the $73.40 level and the $72.50 area, giving us a flat channel to work with. And one thing we observed also is that prior to yesterday's live session, we saw our price action came back within that range again to form another consolidation phase. And what this simply tells us is that there is a level of indecision around that area, as buyers seems to find it difficult to break out of that level around the $73.50 area, despite the fact that OPEC Plus had decided to cut oil production further by 1 million or 2 million barrels per day. I don't have the actual figure on that one. And due to this one, we saw that buyers were finding it difficult to break out of that structure, and we acknowledged that and said that we are going to not ignore the potentials of sellers coming into this market. And to help us guide our trading activity yesterday, remember that we identified this bullish trend line, where we said if price action remains above this bullish trend line, we shall feel comfortable in our buy position. Look out for more opportunities to buy at the breakout of the $73.20 level. But if price action breaks down that trend line, then at this point we want to be considering selling the USOilSPOT. And you saw what happened here with a sell stop order below the $72 area. We had our sell position triggered. I think this is the second or third time we had a sell position below our key level for this week. And you saw how price action significantly moved in our favor, close to 300 pips on that single move right there. And I do hope you moved your stop losses accordingly to secure your position. And if you had done that, you would have been taken out with a considerable size of profit on that one. And congratulations to everyone who had been part of this profitable journey on this one. And one interesting thing we have noticed here since that huge breakdown is the fact that price action has been quite choppy since the later part of the New York session yesterday, giving us a little insight into the level of indecision at this point. So with this kind of structure here, what is going to be our next line of action for today? How do we intend to trade the USOilSPOT? Well, based on this current structure, the next thing we are going to be doing here is to identify what this consolidation phase looks like on a much more lower time frame, to have an idea of what is really going on around that area, so that we can anticipate either a buy or sell for today. Then before I scale down into the 1 hour time frame, I also want us to take into consideration what has happened here yesterday. And from a technical standpoint, whenever we do have a breakdown of a key line like this one we have here, you know what we expect. We expect that price action is likely going to retrace back into that structure to incite another wave of bearish momentum. So at this point in time, we could consider the bullish leg that we've seen so far in the last how many hours is that? I think 12 or 13 hours might likely be a retracement of that impulsive move, where we shall be waiting to see where it's going to culminate before the second wave of the bearish momentum will happen. So we might be looking at somewhere around between the $72.50, the $72 area, or even the trend line, which was broken, for an opportunity to trade the USOilSPOT for today. That is, if price action climbs up, then we want to be looking out for reversal patterns around the zone to join a bearish momentum to the downside. So at this point, it is very pertinent that we remain patient in this market to maximize the potential of any move that happens here. So like I said, we are going to be scaling down into the lower time frame. So I want things to be a little bit neater on the lower time frame. So I would like to hide some of these illustrations here and leave our key level alone. Okay, hold on a second, give me a moment. All right, so let's scale down into the 15 minutes time frame and let's see what is really going on here. So we are right on the 15 minutes time frame. I hope you can see my screen. So we have the key level for the week at the $72 area, and we also have this level here at the $70.20. And like I said on the higher time frame that we already have a structure, so we want to mark this out on our lower time frame to see how we can project what could happen today. So we have a resistant level here in the last 24 hours sitting along the $71, should we call it 57? Okay, let's call it 57. So let's label it for the sake of clarity, $71.50 level. Okay, so to differentiate this from the levels we have, let's give this a different color. So I would rather give it a purple color. Let's give it a purple color, and then we give this one to a purple color too as well, and then we project these into here. So we have something like this. So this is the $70.77. So we shall label this for the sake of clarity, $70.77, and then we have it right here. So bringing back our candle chart, what you will notice here is that despite the fact that we had this impulsive move, like I said earlier, this could be a retracement of that impulse leg, and as soon as price action got into that level around the $71.50 level, we haven't seen price action caught within a range between the zone that we just identified here. And you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of simple channel. We want to wait for price action to either break out of the channel to the upside to give us a buy opportunity, or break down of the channel to the downside to give us a selling opportunity. And in addition to this flat channel here, if we bring out our line chart, you will see that we have a bearish trend line around this level, which has been broken even within the channel to the upside, giving us a sign that the potentials of buyers are beginning to increase around this area. So we had a breakout, we had a retest of the trend line, and we saw higher highs in this market price action heading back into that resistant line. So at this point, we are going to wait and see how price action will react to the $71.50 level. If it breaks out that level, retest that structure, that is when we shall be considering joining a buy opportunity, where a further breakout of that key level at the $72 level will be welcoming more opportunities to buy. However, if price action drops to the downside and then drops below the $70.50, this might likely be the beginning of the second wave of the bearish momentum that started yesterday. So a breakdown retest of the $70.77 level will be welcoming selling opportunities. Then a further breakdown of the $70.20 area will welcome more opportunities to join a decline to the downside. So this is how we are going to be maximizing the potential of any move around this area. So let's keep our options open. Let's remain patient. And for those who still have a sell position running at this point, I would advise that you move all stop losses around that, above that resistant line at the $71.50 level to secure your current position. So let's see how price action plays out around this area in the next couple of hours. Trust me, I will be with you on both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates as at when due. So I will keep you posted, everyone. If you do have any questions regarding what I just explained so far, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and trust me, I'm willing to be of help in that regard. Okay, I see your comment, enjoying it, but there is some feedback from your end. Sounds like some scratches. Okay, thank you very much, Arashi Storm. Thank you very, very much for that. I'll just make some little adjustment here, and please let me know if things are still remaining the same or they are better. Thank you very much. What about now? Let me know how things are sounding at this point. So let me know in the comment section. I really appreciate your feedback. So let's move on to the next instrument we are going to be looking at. If you still have questions, I will be checking the comment section to see if there are any questions for me. So the next instrument we are going to be looking at this morning is going to be the GBPUSD. And on the GBPUSD, we had a very interesting profitable journey yesterday as we took advantage of the breakout of our key level around the 1.24400 level, and we rode that move all the way to the upside. In fact, we also had a privilege of adding more position to our existing trade as soon as price action broke out key structures like the 1.24590, and also we had the opportunity of adding more positions at the breakout of the 1.2500 level. So we had 3 positions running on this one. Let's see what we were able to accrue here. So the first position ran like this. So we saw price action move over 100 pips on that one. We also had the second position here where price action moved over 90 pips. And then we have the third position where price action moved over 40 pips in profit. So congrats to everyone who has been part of this profitable trade. And for you, if you still have a buy position running right now, please, you want to be moving your stop losses to secure your current buy position. And the most appropriate area is anywhere right below that 1.25400 level. So let's secure the current buy position here while we wait out to see what is really going to be happening in this market. So with the buy position secured at this point, let's see how to take advantage of any potential trading opportunity today. And if we look at what has been happening on the GBPUSD since the beginning of this week, one thing that you will observe here is that price action, though, was started on a very choppy situation at the beginning of the week where we had some sells, we had some buys before price action started to find higher highs and higher low. So it has been a little bit bullish since the beginning of the week. And remember, we have a trend line which we identified yesterday that we said we are going to be using to guide our trading activity. So we have a trend line here. Look at it right here. This is the major trend line we were using during the second half of this week to guide our trading activity, where we said as long as price action respects this trend line, remain above this trend line, we shall feel comfortable in buying the GBPUSD. And unless the trend line is broken, we will be considering selling. But at no point in time did we see this trend line broken to the downside. So there was no point in time we were thinking of selling the GBPUSD in the last 48 hours. So going into the New York session today and the London session, of course, we are still going to be using this trend line as our guide. And one thing you would observe here, let me zoom right into the structure. We have a new resistant line, which is around the 1.25690 level here. This is the highest point price action has been for this week. And what we saw as soon as price action tested that level was selling pressure, leading into a situation here where price action has been ranging between the 1.25690 level and the 1.25400 area to give us an insight into the level of indecision in this market within this time frame. So you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of flat channel. We always want to remain patient, waiting for signals to come either in the form of a breakout of the resistant line of that channel to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line of that channel to give us an opportunity to sell. Now let's talk about the potentials of a breakdown of the 1.25400 level before we go into the details on the bullish expectation in this market. So if at any point in time we already had a sign here that price action had already broken down the support line, which you can see here at the 1.254, but this candle is yet to close, so we can't say it's a breakdown actually. It still has about 25 minutes to close here, so we need to be very, very patient to see how it closes. So if we do have a breakdown of the structure and price action does a retest, we might want to be selling, but personally I wouldn't be selling. This is an idea for counter trend traders, scalpers who want to take some quick pips in this market. As the reason why I'm not going to be selling here is this. Now, if you remember what we said here yesterday as regards this trend line that we had here, you will see that price action has been respecting that trend line. And if we look at the distance between the 1.254 and the trend line is roughly around 25 to 30 pips, which is not that much, and it's not something I'm looking out for. So in this kind of situation, if you are a scalper or a counter trend trader, you might want to take a quick pips on this one. Breakdown retest of structure on your 5 minutes time frame 10 minutes time frame or even your 2 minutes time frame, you want to sell to the downside, having your TP around the 1.25. And one important thing here is that as soon as price action gets into that bullish trend line, we want to secure our sell position, as whatever happens here is going to determine if we are going to be buying or adding more sell position to our existing trade. So if a breakdown of the 1.254 happens, a bust stop is around this trend line where we want to see how price action will be reacting to this level to decide if we are going to be buying at that point or selling. Now, if we are going to be buying along the trend line, we shall be seeing something like a reversal pattern. It could be a double bottom structure, head and shoulder pattern, or a falling wedge to give us an idea that a bullish momentum is gradually building up around that area to incite another wave of bullish momentum. But if it so happens that price action breaks down that trend line to the downside, then at this point we want to start considering, if you are already in a sell position at that point, you want to consider adding more position to your existing trade. But if you are not, then we want to start thinking of selling. But remember that as soon as the breakdown happens, we want to scale down into our lower time frame. Remember, we are not getting too excited here. We're not going to be having a sell stop at all at this point, as we need some level of confirmation before we want to join the bearish move. Now, that will reflect on the chart in the form of a retest of the trend line. That is price action retesting the trend line, giving us some couple of retests of structure or selling pressure around that area. We just want to see signs that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above the trend line, after which we want to be adding more sell position if you are already in a sell position, or look out for more opportunities to join the decline. Okay, I think it's better now, right? Thank you for that feedback, Ayodeji. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you, Arashi Storm. Thank you very much. I just sorted that out now. Confirm if the voice is better now. Hello, please kindly confirm the voice is back, please. I just saw that. Thank you very much for that feedback. That's very, very important for us here. Sincerely, I never knew. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Okay, so we continue to wait out and see how price action reacts to this range here. So I don't know where we missed out on this one. So I was just saying here, let me just do a quick recap of what I'm talking about based on this current structure. So what I'm saying here is that we already have a flat channel where price action has been ranging between the 1.2569 and the 1.254. And one thing here is that this channel we have here has a tendency of transitioning into a trend continuation pattern. As well, it can also transition into a reversal pattern. So we are looking at either a breakout of this channel to maximize the trend continuation to the upside, or look out for a breakdown of the support line here to maximize the potentials of selling. And one thing I said here about the breakdown of the 1.254 is that this idea will be suitable for counter trend traders or scalpers at this point in time. But if you are not a counter trend trader or not a scalper, well, I would advise that you stay clear and wait to see how price action will be reacting to this trend line to determine whether to join the sell move or buy at this point. So I said earlier that if we start seeing reversal patterns along the trend line, then we want to join a trend continuation to the upside. But if price action breaks down the trend line, then we want to be looking out for an opportunity to sell the GBPUSD. So that is how we are going to be selling this one at this particular point in time. Then I also emphasize on the importance that we want to keep tabs with the buyers too as well. Of course, the market has been bullish since the beginning of the week, so we cannot ignore the potentials of the buyers here. So this whole structure we have here could also transition into a trend continuation pattern, which we want to keep the options open as well, where the breakout, considering this impulsive move here, it could transition into something like a bullish rectangular pattern, where the breakout of the 1.25690 retest of structure will incite another wave of bullish momentum. And like I was saying here, I said a normal procedure to take advantage of this breakout is to see a breakout happen, then wait for a retest of structure in our lower time frame before joining that trend to the upside. However, since we are already profitable in this market so far this week, we can still leverage on the profit we have made so far to test waters around that area. So we could still risk some of the profit we had made to test and confirm if a bullish momentum will continue from that level. So as a result of that, I'm going to be having a buy stop order above the 1.25690 level to be part of a bullish momentum to the upside. So that is simply what I said before the break in transmission happened there. So if you have any questions regarding what I just explained, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and trust me, I'm willing to be of help. So thank you everyone for the feedback. Sohail Bakshi, thank you very much. Okay, so we shall be moving on to all right, everyone. So we shall be moving on to the next pair, and the next instrument we are going to be looking at is, which one is that? I think it's the XAUUSD, right? Or the USDJPY. Should we trade the USDJPY first of all? Okay, let's go into the USDJPY. And on the USDJPY, the market has been a little bit choppy in the last couple of days now, though we had been having some significant price movement, which we actually took advantage of. So I want us to quickly run through what the week looked like for us on the USDJPY. So at the beginning of the week here, we saw this situation. Let me zoom in so that we can see things clearly. So this was where we were at the beginning of the week. We saw this choppy situation go on here. So we had a flat channel where price action was initially ranging between the 140.250 level and the 139.370. And you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of simple flat channel. We want to wait for price action to either break out of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or break down the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And one thing we saw during the early hours of the week was the breakout of this resistance line. This actually happened before our live session on Monday, and I told us all on Monday that we want to see a retest of the structure before we join a bullish move, and we actually joined that bullish move actually, and price action moved about 15 pips in our favor before we were taken out in a loss. So on the USDJPY, we started the week on a loss as price action took us out of that buy position. Now, as soon as that happened, remember we had a sell stop order below the key level here, had the 139.370 as you can see here, and a couple of hours into the New York session on Monday, we saw our price action triggered our sell stop order, giving us our first sell position for the week. And we rode this move all the way to the downside, giving us a price moved about 85 pips thereabout in our favor before we saw this bullish choppy situation continue. Then we also had the privilege of having more sell position here, but we saw that did not last long as well. And so yesterday we acknowledge here that price action has been ranging between the 140.250. Yesterday we acknowledged this one here. I think during the live session we were around here during the live session. Hold on a sec. Okay, this was where we were during the live session yesterday. So we acknowledge that price action has been ranging between the 140.250 and the 139.150 area. And what we said here yesterday are two things. We said we are going to be focusing on that range between the 140.00 and the 139.650. This was the range we were yesterday, and this was how we said we are going to be trading this USDJPY. So we said we are going to be having a buy stop order above the 140.00 level to maximize the potential to the upside, which never happened at all. And then we had a sell stop order below the 139.650, which actually triggered at that point, and we saw how price action moved in our favor. And if we run through, we see that price moved about 80 to 90 pips in our favor before this bullish traction began. And I do hope you moved your stop losses, as I told us all on both my TradingView and Telegram platform that we should move our stop losses, secure the current sell positions while we wait out for more opportunities. And as you can see, in the last 12 hours here, we have seen this bullish move climb to the upside. I missed out on this one. Well, if you are taking advantage of that one, well done to you for being on standby. But personally, I missed out on that one as this happened in the middle of the night here. Now, this morning, I shared an update on the USDJPY on both my TradingView and Telegram platform. And this was what I was able to spot this morning. And what I saw here was, after bringing out my line chart, I was able to connect the series of lower highs here to give us a bearish trend line to work with for today. And if we bring back our candle chart, you can see this is what we are going to be using to guide our trading activity today. So what this simply means is that as long as price action remains below this bearish trend line and we start seeing signs that sellers are gradually gaining momentum, which would reflect on the chart as a double top structure, head and shoulder pattern, and a reversal pattern you can think of. If it comes up around this trend line and below the 139.650, we want to be looking out for more opportunities to sell. And we want to see something like this. Price comes into this area and we start seeing some rejection of this trend line or the 139.650, then we can start considering selling, map out our neckline, break out on lower time frame, then join the decline to the downside. So that is how we are going to be selling the USDJPY today. And if you look at the nature of this current candle here, it is clear, it's a clear sign that sellers are gradually gaining momentum here, though we cannot conclude based on the nature of the candle right now, as this candle still have about 9 minutes to close here, so we can't judge based on this one. So we need this candle to close. So probably in the next 10 minutes, we begin to see things clearly on a much more lower time frame. And trust me, I will be with you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates. However, if price action breaks out of this trend line, then at this point, we want to start considering buying the USDJPY. So a breakout of this trend line would have also broken out of this level at the 139.650, and if we go to as far back as the beginning of this week, you will see how the 139.650 had been a major determinant of price action. So what I'm going to be doing here, if price breaks out of that structure, remember we are not getting too excited. We are still going to wait for confirmations to happen, which would reflect on the chart as a retest of the structure. It could be the retest of the 139.650 or retest of the trend line that was broken. But most importantly, we want to see signs that sellers are finding it difficult to climb back below the trend line. So we are going to be looking out for reversal patterns like this on our lower time frame to join a bullish move. And if this happens, we have a buy stop order above the 140.00 level to maximize the potential of that bullish momentum. So that is how we are going to be trading the USDJPY today. So we have a simple setup here. So our center of focus is simply around this confluence between the trend line and the 139.650. So depending on how price action reacts to these levels will determine what our next line of action will be. Reversal patterns below the structures will incite selling opportunities, while the breakout retest of the structure will incite an opportunity to buy. So let's keep this in mind, mark this out on our chart, and if you are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, obviously we are going to be having updates in that regard. So that is that on the USDJPY. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be moving on to the next pair, which is going to be the last instrument we are going to be treating for today. And that is the, let me see, what chart is that we are using? Okay. So that is going to be the XAUUSD. And in fact, it was quite interesting and profitable journey for us so far this week on this commodity, as we also had another massive bullish move yesterday on this commodity. So what did we see on the XAUUSD since the beginning of this week? Remember, we bought the XAUUSD at the first day of the week, where we took advantage of this reversal pattern that was spotted around the 1,940 level. And if you remember how the 1,940 level is in the video I shared during the course of the weekend, the link is right in the description box of this current video you are watching. We acknowledge the fact that the 1,940 is a very, very strong demand zone. And if we start seeing buy pressure above that 1,940, we want to be buying the XAUUSD. And this was exactly what we saw on Monday. We saw reversal patterns around that area. We saw the first touch, second touch, where the $1,944 level became the neckline of that structure. And with our buy stop order above that level, we had our first buy position for the week around that area. And remember, we also maximized the potential of this move as we continue to add more positions with buy stops above the 1,950, buy stops above the 1,955, maximizing. So we had about, I think we scooped over 300 pips on that first position we had there before the market went through into a choppy situation, as we saw this consolidation phase here, where price action was ranging between the 1,966 and the 1,955 to give us an insight into the level of indecision in this market. And with the situation here, I told us all here on Wednesday that we are going to remain patient and wait for structures to mature. Of course, when we have this kind of flat channel, we want to see price action either break out of the resistance line for an opportunity to buy, or breakdown of the support line for an opportunity to sell. And at the beginning, during the New York session on Wednesday, remember we had a buy stop order above the 1,966 here, where we saw price action moved about, I think about 50 pips there was. Okay, about 42 pips it moved before this bearish move came in. And I hoped you moved your stop loss then. I told you personally I missed out on that one because I left the screen and I was taking out in a loss on that one as price action hit my stop loss on that very one. But with a sell stop order below our key level, remember we did put our stop losses below the key level there on Wednesday. We had that one triggered and price action moved over 150 pips in our favor before this old bullish momentum began. And during our live session yesterday, we acknowledged this buy pressure right around the 1,940, and what we did simply was to scale down into a much more lower time frame to identify a simple setup that we are going to be using to guide our trading activity yesterday. And this was what we found on a lower time frame. I would like to show you so that we can all be on the same page here. So we went down to I think the 15 minutes time frame we used, right? So this is what we used on Wednesday. Why is my structures not showing here? Okay, on the 30 minutes time frame, that was where we saw it. Okay, this was what we saw yesterday morning live session. So we acknowledged this. We saw that following the impulsive move that brought us into the structure, we started seeing a choppy situation, which looks more like a reversal pattern to us here. So we had the 1,948 serving as a neckline of the structure. And in addition to that, we also acknowledge our price action has been finding higher lows within this range here, and we identified this trend line yesterday. And what we agreed here yesterday before the end of the live session was that as long as price action remains above that trend line, we want to feel comfortable buying the XAUUSD and also feel comfortable staying in the buy position. But at any point in time we have a breach of the trend line, that is price action breaks down the trend line, then we want to start considering selling. But if you look at what happened here, there was no point in time we had a breakdown of that trend line. So our buyers was specifically buying the XAUUSD, and with a buy stop order above the 1,948 level, as you can see here, we had our buy position triggered, and since then we saw our price action moved over 220 pips in our favor before this whole chopper situation began. And it was quite a very profitable day for us, and congrats to everyone who took advantage of this opportunity. And I shared an update on the XAUUSD this morning. I told us all to secure all our buy position. If you are still in a buy position, secure your buy position. And if you had done that, you must have been taken out from your position right now. At a worst case scenario, let me see how many pips that is. Around 150 pips at the worst case scenario if you are just taking out here. So well done guys for being on standby to catch this move. Now that we are going into the London and New York session today, what is going to be our plans on the XAUUSD? How do we intend to buy or sell this commodity? Well, the first thing I did this morning while looking at this chart was to identify key levels around this area. And one thing you would notice here since yesterday is that as soon as price action tested the 1,970 level, a very strong psychological area considering the round figure of that price, we started seeing selling pressure around that area. And the same thing also happened along this level on Wednesday too as well. We saw selling pressure around this area. We saw selling pressure here yesterday too as well. And what this simply tells us is that the level of selling pressure there is very, very strong, revealing the presence of sellers there. And this led into a choppy situation where we had a support line at the 1,963. So we had the range here between the 1,970 and the 1,963. And at this point, this is what we are going to be using to guide our trading activity for today. Now, you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of range like this. We want to either see a breakout of the resistant line for an opportunity to buy, that is breakout here, since of course that area has been a strong selling niche, and if we really want to buy from that level, we definitely want to see a breakout price action taking out all the sellers along that area, give us some liquidity which would reflect on the chart as a retest of structure to incite another wave of bullish momentum. So that is how we intend to actually buy from this level. But there is still a caveat to this, which I will be explaining in a moment. But another thing that could happen here is price action breaking down the 1,963, retest of structure to incite a bearish move to the downside. And if you are with me on my TradingView and Telegram platform, I shared this update this morning. And if you notice, I didn't put this sell breakdown retest below the 1,963, and there's a reason for that. And the reason is simply this. One thing here is that we have a bullish trend line. Remember, since yesterday we had a bullish trend line, which price action has been respecting since Wednesday and the last 48 hours. And one thing I think here is that if price action ever breaks down the 1,963, this might likely be the beginning of a retracement of that impulsive move that started yesterday. That is this one here. So it might be a retracement back into that trend line to incite another wave of bullish momentum. So as a result of this technical expectation, I'm not going to be selling the XAUUSD at the breakdown retest of the 1,963, but wait for price action to react to this trend line to determine what my next line of action will be. So I would rather wait for price action come into this level and then look out for reversal patterns to join a trend continuation. And if we do have a breakdown of the structure, you could look out for a sell-off in this market. But if you are a counter trend trader, you are a scalper, a short-term trader, you might want to take advantage of that move, that is breakdown retest on your lower time frame to join all this move to the downside, and that will be giving us, let's see how many pips that is going to be. That's about 80 pips maximum on that one. Let's see how price action plays out from that area. But if there is a need for us to join a sell move within this old range, and I start seeing some strong sign that sellers are coming in, definitely I will be giving you an update on both my TradingView and Telegram platform. So that is my idea on selling the XAUUSD for today. Now, buying the XAUUSD at this point, like I said earlier, and judging from this technical structure, we want to see a breakout of the 1,970 before buying. But are we going to miss out on all this opportunity that is between here to here, which is about 65 pips before we join? Hell no. We want to maximize this potential, so we want to catch a bullish momentum early enough. And to do that, we need structures that will guide us. Now, if we bring out our line chart here and we connect the series of lower highs, we have a simple setup we can use. I think we are going to be having a couple of trend lines here. So let me draw the first one. That's the first one here. And then let me draw the second one, which I might make a temporary one. And when we bring out our line chart, our candle chart, we see things more clearly and delete the one that is insignificant from these levels. So bringing back our line chart, our candle chart, this is what we can see here. So you can see price has been finding lower highs, leading to the breakdown of the 1,963. And for me to buy here, like I said, we want to maximize the potential of a bullish momentum here. So what we are going to be doing is to have a structure where a breakout of this trend line will give us a sign to get ready. Then we scale down into our lower time frame to look out for retest of structure to be part of a bullish momentum. So what we simply want to be seeing around that area are reversal patterns, structures that support price action is going to the upside. Then we could have a buy stop order above the 1,970, and as soon as the 1,970 is broken, we would have had two positions running in profit on this commodity. So let's see how price action plays out. Then to help us guide our trading activity to buy early enough, we are going to be having a key level here around the $1,965.50 level, somewhere right around here. So I would like to give this a golden color, which is going to be the key level for buying opportunity here. So we have this at 1,965, hold on a second, 50-cent level. So we give this a golden color too as well and place it at the top right hand side of our screen right here. So beautiful. So we have a simple structure to guide us. So once a breakout of this trend line happens, retest of structure gives us an opportunity on our lower time frame to look out for opportunities to buy. Then we have a buy stop order above the 1,970. Then we can join and add more position to our existing trade. So it's quite a very simple setup here that we are going to be using to guide our trading activity for today. So our center of focus today is between the 1,970 and the 1,963. So let's focus on this area and use it as a guide for our trading activity today. And I told you that if I start seeing strong selling pressure below the 1,963, I would let you know in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform that we could actually take advantage of this counter trend opportunity. So on this note, I want to call it a day here. It has been a wonderful week for us on the Forex Mastery live session with Sheriff Daramola. It has been a wonderful week. We had profits on USOilSPOT, though we had some stop losses too as well, but we were able to in total make a significant amount of profit. And well done to everyone who had been part of this profitable journey. So I wish you best of luck during the London and New York session today, and I hope to see you in the comment section on both my TradingView and Telegram platform as we continue to monitor price action. Do have a wonderful evening, everyone, and bye-bye to everyone in the comment section who had made this live session very, very interesting. I really do appreciate every single one of you, and I look forward to seeing you same time next week too as well, during the morning. And don't forget that I'm going to be sharing our plans for next week during the course of the weekend. So we are going to be having 4 instruments that we are going to be monitoring for next week. So click the like button, subscribe to the channel so that you can get a notification as soon as I publicize our plans for next week. Do have a wonderful evening and a beautiful weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.